Welcome back to the Green Rush. I'm your host today. I am Josh Kincaid, generally hosting the Talking Hedge podcast, Cannabis Business Podcast. Jimmy is out, so you're stuck with me. We're talking everything about cannabis today. We started off with cultivation. Now we're going to talk about, or we talked about genetics. Now we're going to talk about cultivation, everything that is growing. Got a couple of folks here from Washington State, my backyard, as well as Tennessee. So that's going to be interesting to talk to them. I don't know anything about Tennessee cultivation, so going to jump into some interesting topics all about growing. Quick introductions with Bill and Shawn. You guys are with Washington Bud Company. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Josh.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, what do you want to know about growing weed?
All about it. So you guys jumped in the medical industry, right? And so with that, it's been at least almost 10 years, I'd say, since 2016, I think is when Washington went legit. Tell me a little bit about that whole part about getting into the industry, what it's like, because we don't have vertical integration in Washington. So you only grow and then make products, but you don't sell them. You have to have a retailer do that. So walk me through the whole process of starting. You're in the medical days, you switch over. What was that like in both scenarios, and where you at now?
Yeah, so in 2010, Bill and I went to Hemp Fest and saw what was going on. And, at that time, the medical marijuana bill that Jeannie Cole Wells had sponsored was being talked about. And, and it actually passed the House and Senate in 2011. So we thought we had a legit medical marijuana bill. Then the governor line item vetoed out everywhere the Department of Health or Department of Ag was supposed to oversee this program. And we ended up with the mess of a medical market that we had, and
it really wasn't very legalized. You were taking a chance. I mean, there was no regulations, there was no security that you could not get in trouble, you could not get arrested, you could not get charged with something. So it was really a loosey-goosey setup.
Yeah, and some people paid taxes and some people didn't. We chose to pay taxes on our sales, like our regular business that we own in Washington, because that kind of covers your ass, right? Mm-hmm. But anyway, fast forward, we branded back in 2012. So we were one of only 5 brands in medical that actually branded. And so we were really lucky that way, because we established the brand. Bud tenders have been smoking us for a long time, and we had a lot of time to figure out the strains, right? What we wanted to grow, what people liked to smoke, what looked pretty, what grew well in our system, all of those things. So when we hit 502, we were in medical June of 2016, and we were in rec the next month in July of 2016 with our brand. And so we couldn't ask for a better situation that we're wholesalers only, because the whole vertical integration, that really, it's not conducive to mom and pop business, basically. You got to have deep pockets for that.
Before I dive too much into that, I do want to kind of point out that you're growing for X amount, and then how much is that retailer adding to that? Is it 3X?
Usually 3, sometimes 3.4, 3.5. There's even stores that'll go 4, because out of that, they've got to pay the 37% tax plus the 10% tax on top of that. So basically a 47% tax on everything that they sell. And then they've got to have, about a third of that to pay for their employees that aren't deductible on 280E because they sell weed. So, you can't deduct that. And so, yeah, it's necessary to have that much of a markup in this state. And it's okay, because you can still buy a really good eighth of weed for $45 out the door with
it's
taxes.
Just sad for everybody else who, if you sell a $48 ounce and then you're only able to sell it for $10, it's tough. Let's talk to the folks over at Flow Garden in Tennessee, because they're about almost 10 years behind you guys in Washington as they grow and roll out and go through all of these other issues, from the medical days where you can kind of do what you want to the more regulated market where there's not a whole lot of clear pathways. So I want to welcome the guys from Flow Garden. Do we have David or Erich?
This is Erich.
Erich, how are you, man?
Doing good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it. So tell me a little bit about Flow Garden. You guys are out there in Tennessee doing your thing, and how are you exactly doing that?
So we're under the hemp laws. It's governed by the state. and we're allowed to grow anything that's under 0.3 total THC. So we focus a lot on alternative cannabinoids, our CBDs, CBGs, and then we also do type 2 flower, which is equal parts THCA and CBD.
Okay. Are you guys vertically integrated, or are you just a grower? How does that work down there for right now with this? I'm assuming it's kind of a pilot or it's not pilot, but just under the hemp. But...
Exactly. Yeah, we're pretty much vertically integrated at this point, seed to sale. We work on genetics, and our indoor facility is around 20,000 square feet. So we put out about 200 pounds of indoor flower that we sell all around the country. So that's one good thing we can do, is we can ship all around the country. We're in the marijuana market, not so much. So
are you trying to do any kind of D8, D9, any loopholes there? Or are you trying to feel your way into cannabis through your own terroir and figure out what you can grow if or when that happens? Or you just
that's the elephant in the room. We're positioning ourselves here for when it does, if it does come legal one day. We have an established brand, to go from. We really haven't messed with D8 so much. I'm not a big fan. We do dabble with the THCA. I'm sure you all heard of it, that new market, where as long as it's below 0.3 Delta 9, which that doesn't really grow in the plant. So we can get through that way. So we've been doing that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Bill, Shawn, you guys are advocates and highly involved with the Cannabis Alliance and other events, are networking groups here. Yeah, you guys were against D8, I believe. I maybe making there. Are we neutral?
Synthetics? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when the CBD market got glutted and chemists could figure out a pretty easy way to change the CBD molecule into a delta molecule, that completely.
Well,
it hurt the market hard.
The point of it is that the growers are under a lot of regulations. We're watched a lot with cameras. We're under fenced off areas. We have inspectors come around. To me personally, I'm fine as long as the bulk material comes from a regulated grow. But what was happening is, hemp was coming in from across the country, and processors with a processor license were turning it into a Delta 9 and selling it into our regulated stores. So the competition, it wasn't fair. It wasn't apples for apples as far as the fairness of it, as far as us being a grower. If a guy wants to grow hemp within our regulated market, and he's under cameras, he's limited to square footage, and he wants to market that inside our regulated 502 legal stores, I got no problem with that. But as soon as it comes in from China or from Tennessee, I got a problem with that, because they're growing in a lot cheaper situation than we are. We can't compete with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to compete on. Well, a lot of people talk about the highest THC at the lowest price point. Finally, we're talking about terpenes and other properties to that. How do you guys pick your cultivars to get the best? I was talking to Jerry Whiting before about genetics, and we've kind of just lost Blue Dream, which was really popular. People really like that effect, and then yet it's kind of like, we don't really care. We're going to sell you green crack that's a high yield, even though it makes me super edgy and I hate the result of it. How do you guys pick? Because you guys are our top shelf brand here in Washington with Washington Bud Co. How do you go about picking your cultivars? And then Eric, I want to ask you the same thing.
Well, you've got to. Yeah, there's a lot of differences in the quality of marijuana. It's just like anything else. There's BMWs and there's Chevys, and you're going to find genetics that are just really good. They taste great. They give you a nice high or a really strong high, and they grow strong. Or you'll find genetics that are just sort of laying there flat, very little taste. So we picked our genetics years ago. We just have the same strains we've had for the last 10 years. They were really good strains. Now we've added some over the years. We've done some seeding, but it takes us a long time to find a pheno of a particular seed that we really like. I guess it's just our history of smoking weed for 50 years and what we think is really good quality marijuana. Mm-hmm. And that's how we basically picked it. And it's all about the genetics. I mean, you could be the best grower in the world, but if you don't have good genetics, It's just going to be basic, everyday Chevrolet marijuana.
And you got to grow stuff that bud tenders want to smoke, and then when they want to smoke it, they recommend it, and then the whole circle works.
The other thing about it too is you've got to keep it fresh. You know, there's a lot of outdoor growers. They'll grow one season. They only have one growing season. They'll keep that around for 6, 7, 8 months. I don't care how well you store it. It's like bananas. It goes south fast.
Those terpenes will, they're so much better when it's fresh.
We harvest every 4 weeks. We sell out every 4 weeks, so it's constantly being fresh. We have very current harvest dates, which is a good selling point for us. And it's fresh and it's spongy. You can feel it. It's not hard rock. How you cure it is important. We keep it in 65-degree rooms. Just little things like that help set our quality above a lot of the other brands out there.
And we're only growing a 2,500 square foot canopy.
That's not a lot. Eric, are you growing outdoors?
No, strictly indoors.
Strictly indoors. Okay. So how do you go about your growing methodology? Like some people, they'll grow tomatoes based on if it ships, with thicker walls, or the size of the product, how many they can fit in a box, or they don't care because they're going to blast it into oil. When you start from indoor, I would assume you're spending a lot more money than somebody growing outdoors. So I'm assuming you're focusing on that flower and end product, but what's going through your head and how do you make those decisions?
Yeah, so our brand is focused mainly on quality. Like we're trying to produce the highest quality plant out there, and we're a little different because we can't grow high THC. So we pheno hunt, or I pheno hunt all the time. Like I've got 100 different cultivars right now I'm running through, because in our market, since it doesn't really get you high per se, it's all about the new flavors, the new tastes, the new smells. So I'm constantly coming up with new cultivars, and then I have my stock, like 8 different ones that I run through that are good sellers. But I'm always looking for the new flavor, because that's what our customers want at the end of the day. So
who is your target market? Who's your target market, and what are they looking for ultimately?
So our target market is mostly males from age 30 to 40, people that are a little older that smoking straight marijuana, it gives them paranoia, gives them high anxiety. So they're looking for something a little bit less to help combat their anxiety. And that's our target market pretty much.
Mm-hmm. So, do you guys have any desire to switch or add cannabis?
Yeah, eventually. But my main focus is type 2 flower, which, like I said, is equal parts THC and CBD. I believe that's the true medicine. It gives you everything you want out of marijuana, except that CBD works with the THC and helps combat any kind of anxiety or paranoia that might come from normal high THC.
Yeah, so I think everybody here is a huge fan of a 1-to-1 ratio, or any ratio for that matter. 1-to-1 CBD THC ratio is one of my favorites. Back in 2015 with a friend of mine, Jerry Mead, with Happy Cat, that's no longer around. They sold it to Florida. But first time I had that, I was like, wow, this is phenomenal. So huge fan.
I'd love to get to know that strain, Eric.
Yeah, well, we have plenty of them. Yeah, I wouldn't mind sending you some cuts. I'll share some of my work. I can even send y'all samples. Really, it doesn't matter. It's amazing. Like it's something you can smoke all day long and still function, and go throughout your day and feel great. So it was eye opening for me when I first tried it.
Yeah, we're in such a high THC market here.
Yeah, the political landscape in Tennessee is it what do the folks on the ground think about it, as well as the folks at the Capitol?
As far as legalization, I think we're probably 70% in favor for it. And Capitol, the Republicans are finally coming around. Democrats have been there. So I feel like we're getting there. The tides are turning, but it's been I've been growing here for 29 years. So it's hard to say. I've kind of given up and just focused on what I can focus on here. But hopefully in another couple of years, we'll have some kind of medical program. So,
do you think you guys will be able to remain in business growing indoors versus somebody who's outdoor, you know, organic, pesticide free? Shawn, Bill, I want to start with you because you've been doing it for a while in a very, very competitive market. 1,800 plus SKUs in any store at any one given time is a nightmare, and yet you guys still manage to be in business. How have you guys survived?
Consistency. He developed a schedule years ago. Every 4 weeks, like clockwork, we're pulling a harvest. And and it's just the cycle that the crew is in. Like right now, their second day of harvest down there, and they know in 4 weeks they're going to be doing it all over again. And so we're able to move our crew around and be efficient, but consistency really, because when the consumer goes in and wants a Blackberry Kush or a Sky Master that's Blue Dream, right? They want that same looking nug. They want that same terpene profile. They want that same effect. And so we've been able to provide that. We only have 9 strains in the market and 8 for years, and we just added a 9th. And
I think distribution is huge because you have all these football players starting CBD companies, and yet they can't really make a lot of sales. It's like a social media influencer who can't sell a minimum 3 dozen t-shirts. Like you can have a huge platform, and yet you have this really hard time making sales. So I think there's something to that whole approach of being able to distribute, and not only that, but then actually converting that product into sales. And it's not as easy as a lot of people think. I think they can kind of just grow and then they will come, and it's not like that at all.
I've cautioned people through my advocacy for years: don't grow anywhere and you can sell. It's just really pricey that way.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more labor, and because labor will eat you alive. And then I understand a lot of the country isn't paying into their tax system and paying taxes on their labor, but we do. We have to pay into Social Security and Medicare for all of our employees. So but we've got a great crew. We've got a crew of 8 people, and they come in every day and they work hard and they get those orders out and do all the hand trimming. And some days they're transplanting, some days they're watering, so we've got a really dynamic crew that works well together. So
any issues or problems that you guys see? There's what was that hemp it's ongoing right now where it's killing a lot of the crops. Erich, help me out. With the
viroid hemp, yeah, hop latent viroid.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is that, how much of an issue is that hop latent virus to destroy products? Because you hear about it, and I want to know the reality of it. And there's articles all the time about fentanyl laced cannabis. I'm laughing because it seems so ridiculous, but I actually have a buddy who got high and he tested himself and he went positive for fentanyl, and he only buys retail Washington cannabis.
Oh, wow.
And so he's down in Tacoma. Yeah. So he was withdrawing and had to go into the hospital for withdrawing off of fentanyl. So I hear about it. I laugh about it because it seems so crazy and stupid. But how much of an impact is that hop latent virus and other crazy stories?
I think it sounds like a lot of crazy stories because a lot of research hasn't been really completed on it yet. You can hear pros and cons both ways. I've heard that it's not really that big a deal, but I've also heard that that is a concern. So,
we're fighting something all the time, right? Whether it's spider mites or root aphids or thrips or
environmental control.
high humidity. It's just such a balance when you're growing indoors. But we can pull down 13 harvests a year. So
I just saw on Facebook there was out of Ohio, there was an 8th little plastic jar of an 8th, and there were spider mites all over it. Generally, you got to crack those open in order to see the hidden ones, but the fact that they just threw those in there and they're like, forget about it. So have you ever
snap, crackle, popped in a bowl, right?
Maybe with the seed, yeah, but not spiders, no. But I refuse to buy cannabis the week before, during, or after 420 now. That 3-week period, I've found so much spider mites and mold and disgusting stuff. People, I think, just wait and they're like, here you go, suckers.
dumping the bad stuff for cheap, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Erich, what's up with the hop latent virus? Have you had any issues in your industry? People you know?
I've only heard about it in the marijuana industry. The hemp industry, knock on wood, I haven't had any problems. I've sent quite a few. We sell clones, so everything we sell we send off to get tested, and so far I've been clean. So yeah, I don't know if it's just something they're throwing out there, if it's I'm sure it's an actual thing, I guess, but I haven't had any experience with it.
Yeah, and the article that I read said that it's really prevalent in like northeastern states, along the coast. So
yeah, maybe
that
that's
also
new
California.
I don't know. We seem to like our mold to gold theory over here. They'll just throw it in a jar in the Northeast, and down here we'll just blast it into extracts or something. I don't know. It's not my thing. You guys have any opinions about the mold to gold? Like, I know everyone says it's okay and the mold all gets removed through these filtrations, but if you just start with good product, I don't see why you need to take a moldy banana and create a delicious smoothie out of it. Like, I'm good.
That's probably by they have to do it. It's either that or throw it away, So
I prefer you throw it away. That's my preference.
Oh
yeah, we haven't had bud rot mold for so long. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
We wouldn't take the chance of alienating our customer base right now. I mean, that would seem like a illogical business decision.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about some of the
But
hurdles that you guys are seeing. I know at Washington, they love you guys running around like chickens with your head cut off to make you think that they're going to limit THC concentrates at 10% or limit your products based on crazy shapes or colors because it's attracted to kids. What are some of the hurdles that you guys are facing now other than just the fierce competition in either Washington or Tennessee in your respective fields?
Well, they're looking at changing our traceability system for the fifth time. So, I sit on the executive board of the Cannabis Alliance, and so we're keeping our ear real close to regulations and legislation. And so, in this state, they took away agricultural exemptions and everything from cannabis back in 2014 because they were really scared of what was going to go on, right? Well, we're 10 years. So, we need some exemptions and some help like any other small business in Washington has. We have to pay taxes on our cost of goods, for goodness sakes. No other business has to do that. So, the state's the only one really raking in the winnings at a basically 47% tax on every dollar sold, right? And so it's time for them to start looking at us with respect as business people and give us the benefits of being Washington citizens and Washington small business owners. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm really going to be focused on this year.
Mm-hmm. What about out in Tennessee, Erich?
So out here, the governor just signed a bill in about 2 months ago to regulate all the hemp derived products, put a tax on it. I feel bad even saying after what you just said yours was. It's a 6% tax, but they all child-proof packaging and no animal shapes, no unicorns, anything like that geared towards children. So that they just put that in effect July 1st, so this month. So they're just trying to make it like an actual product, but it's just our way of doing things, I guess, for now.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that would alleviate all of your issues? People talk a big game about, the Safe Banking Act, even though I don't think that that's the end all be all. What is the end all be all in your opinion? What would solve all of the problems?
Well, first of all, to give her that Safe Banking Act would be a big plus, and also the 280E tax burden at the retailers. 280E doesn't affect us, but it certainly affects the retailers. And in this state, the retailers really have all the power. They're pretty much dictating the price. If you want in their store, you better either have a really good product, really good business sense, or be able to lower your price right to the nickel and dime. So those guys are struggling. 280E would help them a lot. Safe banking would help us because then we could access a lot of assets and a lot of equity.
Yeah, right now.
Buildings. So
yeah, we can't take out a mortgage.
And
right?
then if we can also less of the regulations. Like, okay, let's treat it like potato chips. We don't need cameras and fenced off areas and all this ridiculous rules and regulations. I mean, traceability. Actually, keep track of every single gram. It's a joke. It's impossible. There's no way in the world you can keep track of it. And who cares? I mean, so what? Where's that taking you? What's that solving? Sometimes a lot of these things are just fear-based, and those fear-based regulations cost us money and labor, and that helps the bottom line for sure.
So we're going after plant tags at the Cannabis Alliance, those single-use plastic plant tags that they make us put on any plant that's higher than 8 inches, right? My gosh, you just roll through those and they just, create waste that is unnecessary.
Yeah, I hope some of the retailers aren't watching this because I've resorted to costume changes. I will literally go into a store wearing what I'm wearing and go out and do a costume change and go back in because I can only buy 1 ounce at a time. So until I meet like that new bud tender who doesn't know what the rules are, I'm like, oh, you're new? I'd like 2, please.
That'd be nice. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah. Erich, what would alleviate all of your issues out in Tennessee? Is there like a magic wand that you could just like hit somebody on the head with and solve all your problems?
I wish. I mean, if they would just raise this limit from 0.3% total, it's almost like you can't even grow a plant well, you can't really, unless it's CBG at post-harvest. If they could just raise that to 1%, 2%, give us a little bit of wiggle room, that would help tremendously. And then obviously the elephant in the room, if they could just get us some sort of medicinal program here or anything like that would help tremendously. I feel like we're living in the dark ages out here. We're just trying to grow plants for a living. So,
well, if somebody wants to help you out, Erich, and or collaborate with you or just find your products and buy it, how can they get a hold of you? Where are you at?
You can go on our website, flowgardens.com. We ship to all 50 states. And then we have an Instagram. It's flowgardens420 _ 2.0 because our other one got deleted. And yeah, so check us out there.
Okay. And then Shawn,
me, Erich.
you guys,
to all 50 states.
Yeah, right. WashingtonBudco.com or where are you guys at?
Wabudco. Yeah, we're wabudco.com. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we only serve 30 stores and mostly around Lake Washington and some a little south, some a little north. But yeah, we live on a pot farm and we really love it.
Yeah, you live on your farm.
Yeah.
Like that's, I think you're one of the only one in the entire state that has that ability. Or you guys, when you were at Washington Marijuana Association way back in the day, fighting for it, they were going to try and change the lines, and it was going to be like on the other side of you had to move. You're going to have to move. I remember, like, I don't know if you remember, but it was like nine years ago or something, and all kinds of crazy stuff. So anybody who's watching in a newly emerging state, you got a lot of fun stuff to look forward to. So maybe hit up, Shawn, Bill, or Erich and ask them about their Petri dish experiment because
know your zoning codes and protect them because those county and city councils, they can go in and change those codes and all of a sudden you're blocked out. So got to make damn sure the place that you're growing on when you get legal accepts you in their zone. That's my best advice to anybody across any state.
Get involved and talk to people who have done it. It'll save you a lot of time and money. But with that, I think we're going to have to roll this one up. So I want to thank my guests, Shawn, DeNae, Bill Wagenseller, both with Washington Bud Company. Erich, is it Maelzer?
Yep, perfect.
Erich Maelzer with Flow Garden out in Tennessee. Man, appreciate all you guys being on with us here at the Green Rush, produced by Pro Cannabis Media every Friday live from 4 to 6. With that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is The Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out. Don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and check out these other videos that we've got.
Thanks for listening to today's show. To check out more great cannabis podcasts, go to podconnects.com. Here's a preview of one of our other shows.
Hey there, my name is Leah Babrudi, and I'm the founder and host of Cannachicks Podcast, where I discuss cannabis, psychedelics, and other natural medicines. I not only interview people who use them as treatment for different conditions, but also the entrepreneurs who share their knowledge on how they built their businesses. If this sounds interesting to you, give my show a listen. I'm sure you'll learn something that'll surprise you.